The Pixel 8 Pro is a phone which has so many unique features worth appreciating, but a few weird choices by Google has made the whole experience a mixed bag. Today, 8 months after its launch, it is better than ever thanks to a lot of updates. But is it worth the asking price of 100,000 Indian rupees, especially compared to the latest high-end phones? Well, that's exactly what we'll try to find out in this long-term review of the Pixel 8 Pro. So without any further ado, let's get started. The camera visor designed by Google is quite unique and now pretty much iconic. Even from a distance, you can easily identify a Pixel phone. In terms of the materials used, I really like the matte glass finish. It gives a very premium touch to this phone. On the other hand, I'm not a fan of this glossy metallic camera visor. It is very prone to smudges and scratches. On the front, this time around, Google went with a flat display instead of a curved one, and that definitely improves the grip as well as durability of this phone. Speaking of durability, this phone has Gorilla Glass Victus 2 protection on both the front and back, which is definitely top tier. After using it for 8 months without any screen protector, I have seen no scratches on this display. And there is also IP68 water and dust resistance rating, which adds to the durability. In terms of dimensions, it is definitely not a small phone, but it's also not a huge phone like the S24 Ultra. It's also not too bulky, but because of the camera visor, it's definitely a little top heavy. Coming to its in-hand feel, I have nothing to complain about. The back has curved edges, making it quite comfortable to hold. My only issue with this design is with regards to the button placement. It is quite difficult to access the volume down button with this unusual button layout. So to conclude, as far as the design and build are concerned, this phone definitely justifies its price. There is absolutely no compromise in terms of the materials and durability, just a few odd design choices. Coming to the display, this is a top tier display through and through. You get all the latest display technologies like OLED, high resolution, high refresh rate, LTPO tech, HDR and so on. And in terms of brightness, this was my first phone with such high brightness level. I was incredibly impressed with it when I first saw it. Now in 2024, so many phones have launched with similar or even higher brightness levels, but still, this phone remains one of the best in this department. This phone was also the first one to introduce me to HDR photos in the gallery. This made all the photos look stunning with that HDR brightness. Speaking of HDR, you get full HDR support in both YouTube and Netflix, and the HDR videos on both platforms look incredible. So overall, this is one of the best displays on any phone in the market right now. Next is audio. Starting with the speakers, again I have nothing to complain about here. I have heard slightly better phone speakers, but this is definitely among the best. It excels both in terms of loudness and clarity. Check out this audio sample. The audio recording quality as well as the recording app are both quite impressive. Check this out. This is an audio recording test of the Google Pixel 8 Pro. This recorder app is super cool as it can live transcribe, identify individual speakers, as well as summarize the recorded conversation. This phone also has an advanced audio tool which can remove background noise from your recordings. Check this out. This is a test of the Audio Magic Eraser capability of the Google Pixel 8 Pro. This is a test of the Audio Magic Eraser capability of the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Another audio feature which is exclusive to Pixel phones is the ability to recognize music playing in the background while the phone is sitting idle. Audio enhancement is an area where this phone seems to be lacking. You don't get Dolby Atmos support, and there is also no equalizer to tweak the audio. You only get support for spatial audio with Bluetooth headphones. Coming to Bluetooth, this phone supports most of the audio codecs except LHDC. Still, there is support for NDAC codec for those who want to hear lossless and high-res music over Bluetooth. So when it comes to audio, this phone does well with the basics and also adds some cool useful features. Camera is easily one of the biggest reasons to buy any Pixel phone. Even on this phone, the camera hardware is fantastic. All the rear cameras have high resolution sensors, and even the selfie camera has good optics as well as autofocus. Over the past few months, I've traveled a lot and this phone has always been with me. I love the fact that taking great photos with the Pixel 8 Pro is pretty much effortless. You just point and shoot, and you will almost always end up with a shot with perfect exposure, accurate colors, and great dynamic range. No wonder Pixel phones win the blind camera test almost every time. Even indoors, with tricky lighting, the Pixel 8 Pro delivers great results. And the story continues with macro shots as well. You can get really close to the subjects and still get sharp and detailed shots. Even in terms of color science consistency between all the three rear cameras, I am very happy with the results. Here you can see the entire zoom range of this phone. Shots up to 10x zoom look pretty good, but I am not too impressed with the 30x shots. The S24 Ultra can produce much better results. Still, I really like the reach of the 5x periscope camera. It can produce some great looking shots. And with 10x lossless zoom, taking sharp photos of these distant animals becomes quite easy. The good news continues in low light as well, especially with the primary camera. Though I must say that I was expecting slightly better results from the ultra-wide and periscope camera in low light. They are a bit too soft for my liking. Coming to selfies, I am very pleased with the results. The skin tones are especially impressive. Even in less than ideal lighting, this phone does a fairly good job. Coming to video, this phone can record videos in 4K 60fps with all its cameras, and while recording, you can even switch between all the rear cameras, which is a great to-have feature. However, the zoom transition could have been smoother. Video boost is a feature that came a few months after the phone launched, but it's an incredibly impressive feature. The difference is massive. However, it's not very convenient to use as it involves a lot of steps and several hours of cloud processing. This is a video sample from the front camera of the Pixel 8 Pro. It is recorded at 4K 60fps and the quality seems to be pretty good. As good as this camera is, it still misses out on a few important features. So you can take portrait videos, but only with the primary camera and not with the selfie camera, which is quite weird, and it's limited to 1080p instead of 4K. Also, when it comes to portrait mode photos, you just can't use the 5x camera. This is also very weird. Next, the Pro mode is a good addition, but it only works in photo mode and not in video mode. And finally, there is no support for 4K 120fps or 8K video recording, so it does miss out on a bunch of important features. So overall, this camera system is very capable, and most of the missing features can be added in the future via software updates. So let's hope for the best. The software experience is perhaps the strongest aspect of this phone. You obviously get the latest version of Android out of the box, and this phone will be the first in line to receive the latest security patches as well as the latest version of Android, not just for 2-3 years, but for 7 long years. This is absolutely crazy, and as there is absolutely no bloatware, this is also the cleanest version of Android out of the box. Add to that, the smoothness, animations, and polish this UI offers makes the whole experience feel very premium. There is also a decent amount of customization on offer. I especially like the lock screen clock options. And with updates, we regularly get new features like Circle to Search and Magic Compose. Other advanced AI features include Magic Editor, which lets you go crazy with your photos. Also, there are many other useful AI features like call screening, AI wallpapers, best take, photomoji, and so on. However, some of these features are only available in a few regions. So, in terms of the overall software experience and AI features on offer, this phone is easily one of the best, if not the best, in the world of Android. While software was one of the strongest aspects of this phone, performance is definitely the weakest aspect of this phone. This phone is powered by the homegrown Tensor G3 SoC, which is based on 4nm technology. While it scores decently in benchmarks, it is not that good in terms of sustained performance. It throttles quite a bit, especially if the ambient temperature is high, like here in India. And even its best performance is much lower than a phone costing nearly half as much as this phone. In day-to-day usage, it feels smooth, but also feels slower than the competition. Coming to gaming, it does a decent job. Games like PUBG and COD run without any issues. However, some games like Asphalt 9 run much better now compared to the initial days of owning this phone. Still, with heavy games like Genshin Impact, this phone definitely struggles and also gets quite hot. So in terms of performance, this Tensor G3 chip definitely disappoints. It barely keeps up with phones having 2 generation old chips, and even its thermal performance is abysmal. So this is one area where Google is far behind the competition. Coming to battery, this phone packs in a good 5050 mAh battery, but initially, the battery life on offer wasn't that great. I could barely get about 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time. But with updates, the situation has definitely improved. Now I get an average of around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. Coming to the charging speeds, it supports 30-watt power delivery charging, but doesn't come with a charger in the box. Also, the speed is decent but way behind the competition. It takes about 90 minutes to fully charge this phone, while phones like OnePlus 12 and iQOO 12 barely take about half an hour to fully charge. However, it does support wireless charging as well as reverse wireless charging, which is always good to have. So while the battery life is good enough, there is a lot of room for improvement in terms of the charging situation. This phone comes with a temperature sensor. It's a nice to have feature, but it's not that useful, especially outside the US where it still can't be used to measure body temperature accurately. The fingerprint scanner position is good, but the recognition speed is not the fastest. Face recognition is also a bit slow, but that's because of its enhanced security. Haptics on this phone are fantastic, one of the best in the market, easily. This phone has all the sensors and connectivity options, including USB 3.2 Type-C port, which is very fast for data transfer. The SIM tray can hold only one SIM card. For dual SIM functionality, the second SIM needs to be an eSIM. In terms of 5G bands and network features, nothing is missing here, but Pixels are known to have poor network performance. However, I have not faced any such issue with this phone. Alright, conclusion time. So as an overall package, there is a lot going for the Pixel 8 Pro. Premium build quality, great display and audio, fantastic cameras but with a few missing features, and excellent software experience which will only get better with time. But ultimately, it all comes down to performance, and in that aspect, this phone is definitely not on par with the competition. In fact, it's not even on par with last year's competition. It's like having a high-end car, but instead of a V8 engine, you get an ordinary 4-cylinder engine. This engine will get the job done, but it won't deliver that high-end experience that a V8 engine delivers. That is exactly the problem with the Pixel 8 Pro. So unless you are a Pixel fan or want to be the first in line to receive the latest Android updates, this phone is really hard to recommend. I hope that changes with the Pixel 9 Pro, as that software experience is definitely worth experiencing. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel down below. Thanks for watching.